If you were born in the last 75 years, then you were born into a world with human rights. They may not have been discussed at your dinner table or even honored by your government, but they nonetheless characterize the value systems held by a very large part of the modern world.
Now, when you grow up hearing about something, it's easy to take it for granted. But human rights are actually sort of a new and radical idea, an idea that was extremely controversial just a few generations ago, and really in some ways continues to be controversial today.
Now, why are human rights so important to transitional justice? Well, if we believe that people only have the rights given to them by their governments, then there is no legal or moral basis for any nation to tell another that it is doing something wrong, or for a newly empowered government to condemn the actions of an old one.
In order for those scenarios to take place and for them to be accepted as legitimate, we have to agree that some things are universally wrong and that people have universal rights which transcend political and geographic boundaries. Now, of course, this is a simplification of a very complex subject, but that is the general idea of human rights and why they are so integral to transitional justice.
The idea of human rights has its forebears in earlier political and philosophical traditions, think John Locke, but this isn't a philosophy course, and for our purposes, human rights truly came into being as a globally significant phenomenon in the aftermath of World War II. As the unprecedented scale of the Holocaust and its atrocities became apparent to the world, a growing consensus started to build around the idea of international governance, prompting the establishment of the United Nations.
In San Francisco, by the way, just throwing that out there. In 1948, the UN General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, representing a common standard of achievement for all peoples and all nations. Though non-binding, meaning there was no legal enforcement mechanism upon these nations, this document was revolutionary in its proclamation of universal values that transcended borders.
It also laid the foundation for the other two documents that, together with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, would comprise the International Bill of Human Rights. These later documents, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights and the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, are legally binding treaties, violations of which are subject to prosecution, sanction, or even the deployment of military force.
Now, let's take a bit of a closer look at these three documents. Well, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights was adopted in Paris. Of the 58 UN member states at the time, 48 voted in favor, with the other 10 either abstaining or failing to vote.
Today, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights remains a foundational normative document for the United Nations and its now 193 member states. And though, as mentioned, it is non binding, it has come to be regarded by many as having the force of customary law. Moreover, each of the 193 member states has ratified at least one of the later treaties which the Universal Declaration of Human Rights inspired.
So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights consists of 30 articles, each article outlining a basic human right. And we will include a link to the full declaration in our description.
Yeah, give it a browse. The covenants, however, set about codifying. Is it codifying or codifying?
Codifying.
I swear I wrote give it a browse. Did you change that?
Yeah.
That's so funny. Does that phrase offend you?
Well, no, but like I feel like for you it's natural to say like give it a browse, but for me that's not really that would be like a very
I
forced
understand.
line,
I
you know?
understand. I understand. The covenant set about codifying those previously mentioned rights into binding multilateral treaties. This took some time. After the adoption of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights in 1948, the covenants were not adopted until 1966, and it was not until 1976 that they entered into force after ratification by 35 states each.
This delay owed to a number of significant political and philosophical disagreements within the UN, which we won't get into in this video, but are nonetheless worth exploring. If you're interested, further reading will be attached in the description along with the full text of both covenants.
The International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights includes rights to physical integrity, namely freedom from torture and slavery,
Liberty and security of person, including security from arbitrary arrest and the right to habeas corpus.
procedural fairness in law, including due process and the presumption of innocence,
Individual liberties, including freedom of movement, religion, speech, assembly.
political participation, namely the right to vote.
And guarantees of non-discrimination.
The International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights includes the rights to labor under just and favorable conditions, including limited hours, paid holidays, and the ability to unionize and strike,
Adequate standards of living, including the right to adequate food, water, housing, and clothing.
and rights to health, free education, and participation in cultural life.
Today, 174 nations are party to the ICCPR, and 172 are parties to the ICESCR. I know these very long names in the acronyms are not conducive to talking about, but
No, you can do the acronyms, but you can't do them that slowly.
sorry guys, I'll work on that. On paper, that means that each of those nations are committed to the protection and assurance of each of the rights contained within the covenant. As for what that looks like in practice, well, learn a lot more about that in this series, so stay tuned.
Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Thanks, take care.